breaking news out of California where a tense, hours-long standoff is now over. It all started yesterday, just before 1 p.m. local time, when a man forced himself into an office above a Chase Bank in Bakersfield, California. He told police that he had explosives attached to himself. At a news conference this afternoon, police and FBI officials confirmed that he took 10 hostages, tying 5 of them up. 2 hostages were released late yesterday before negotiations stalled. Then early this morning, authorities broke into the office and killed the suspect. No hostages were physically harmed. Let's get right to NBC's Steve Patterson. He joins us from the scene there in Bakersfield, California. Steve, what else do we know about how all of this evolved and how it ended?
Kate, it was an evolution into an escalation that ended essentially in a flash. One of the primary questions that we had was if negotiations were working and hostages were being released, why then would they need to take lethal action well into the night? Well, one of the primary reasons was sort of the partnership between local police and the FBI. We know at some point, as negotiations were starting to fail, the FBI takes over, but also that authorities were on a timer because one of the hostages was not only diabetic, but communicating with authorities on the outside, and her communication device had died. So she essentially needed help and needed that rescue. And that's when they made entry into the building and fired that shot. I want to play from you the authorities talking about that situation and the strict timer that they were on to essentially save a life. Listen to this.
We knew because the individual, she had her phone with her and was in communication with us until the phone died. And at one point we were able to get medicine to her, but she was diabetic. And we knew that this was a loss of life situation for that particular hostage that was taken if we didn't act sooner than later.
And that's when they went in. According to authorities, no one else was hurt. All of those hostages, 10 hostages, as you mentioned, 5 of them tied up. No one sustained any additional injuries. They were all rescued and are reunited with their families. Kate?
And Steve, do we know anything more about the suspect in the standoff and why this all happened?
Yeah, we're learning a little bit more, less about the motive, of course. That is still under investigation, still part of the investigation, still the reason why they still have a hold on the scene as we speak. But we are learning a little bit more about the suspect, Anthony Scott Harris, 41 years old. I'm reading from what they released, with a history of using weapons to commit violent offenses as well as child sex acts, a registered sex offender, served in the U.S. Army in 2006, but we know he was dishonorably discharged for going AWOL, and then obviously has a long litany of priors, including, again, these sex crimes as well. We do not know why he was specifically in this building. Of course, there are theories. As far as we know, it has nothing to do with the bank itself, which is on the first floor and sort of has the banner of the building. But we know there are more offices in that building. We don't know why he was specifically in that second floor office, all part of the investigation as we speak.
All right, Steve Patterson with that developing news. Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.